The story of Korean Americans in the 21st century is one of change, resilience, and growth. What began as a struggle for survival has become a journey towards recognition, belonging, and leadership in American life. The community has made great strides in culture, education, business, and politics, but progress has not erased challenges. Political underrepresentation, cultural isolation, and generational divides continue to shape the experience of Korean Americans today. This story isn't only about numbers or milestones. It's about neighborhoods, families, churches, and young people figuring out where they belong. It's about how one of America's once small immigrant groups grew into a visible part of the national fabric, while still learning how to build deeper connections with others. Immigration exploded after the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act, which ended quotas that had favored Europeans and opened the doors to Asia. In 1960, there were just 11,000 Korean immigrants in the US. By 1980, this number had grown to nearly 300,000, a jump over 2,500%. These early immigrants were overwhelmingly small business owners. They opened dry cleaners, corner stores, and restaurants, businesses that required little English but long hours. Many worked from sunrise to midnight, investing everything into giving their children better opportunities. For decades, Korean communities like Los Angeles' Koreatown or Palisades Park in New Jersey were lifelines for new immigrants. These neighborhoods provided more than just restaurants and grocery stores. They offered safety, language, and familiarity in a country that often felt distant and overwhelming. Koreatown in Los Angeles, for example, became one of the most recognizable immigrant hubs in the country. It was not only a place to buy kimchi or attend church, it was also a place to find lawyers, accountants, and tutors who spoke Korean. A single church basement might double as a worship space on Sundays, a free ESL classroom on Tuesdays, and a study hall for teenagers every night of the week. Today, Korean Americans live far beyond Koreatown. They're teachers in suburban schools, doctors in Midwestern hospitals, and city planners in places where Korean enclaves never existed. This physical spread shows a shift from a concentration in ethnic communities to a broader integration. But presence does not always mean belonging. True integration isn't just about moving into new neighborhoods. It's about joining the conversations and decisions that shape a community, and that's where the challenge continues. If there's one area where Korean Americans have become impossible to ignore, it's culture. K-pop bands like BTS and Blackpink sell out stadiums. The film Parasite became the first non-English movie to win an Oscar for Best Picture.
And the Oscar goes to Parasite.
Korean dramas stream into millions of American homes through Netflix. And dishes like Korean barbecue, kimchi, and bibimbap are no longer exotic, they're just dinner for many Americans. This explosion, known worldwide as the Korean Wave, or Hallyu, has brought enormous pride. It has reshaped how Korea is viewed globally, from a war-torn nation to a cultural powerhouse. But this success comes with a paradox. People may sing along to K-pop or line up for bulgogi, but that does not always mean they know or care about their Korean American neighbors. And Korean Americans are partially to blame for this. Many Korean businesses, churches, and community centers still operate exclusively in Korean, and this unintentionally keeps outsiders at a distance. The result is a strange social gap. While the culture is celebrated, the people behind it are sometimes invisible. Bridging that gap requires more than food festivals or music videos. It takes building real relationships, shared spaces, open dialogue, and collective responsibility. Politics has been another slow but very important frontier. In 1993, Jae Kim became the first Korean American elected to Congress. In 2024, Andy Kim broke another barrier, becoming the first Korean American elected to the US Senate. Along the way, Korean Americans have won seats on city councils, school boards, and state legislatures across the country. Organizations like the Korean American Coalition and Korean American Civic Empowerment have worked for decades to push civic engagement forward. The Korean American Grassroots Conference regularly brings hundreds of community members to Washington, D.C. to advocate on issues that matter to them. Still, turnout remains uneven. As of 2022, over 1 million Korean Americans were eligible to vote. Yet, compared to other Asian American groups, participation was lower, significantly so. For many first-generation immigrants, politics still seemed like a foreign concept. Growing up under authoritarian governments in Korea, some saw politics as corrupt or dangerous. For others, the focus was on survival, running a store, raising kids, paying off loans. Politics seemed like a luxury they could not afford. But younger generations are pushing back against the silence. They see voting and activism not as optional, but as necessary tools to ensure the community is represented and heard. One of the most personal challenges for Korean Americans lies within the families themselves. For many first-generation immigrants, the priority was clear: financial stability, education for their kids, and preserving traditional values like respect for elders and hard work. Many immigrants hope to eventually return to Korea after securing a comfortable life in America. The second and 1.5 generations grew up differently. They spoke English fluently, joined clubs at school, and absorbed American culture alongside Korean customs at home. This generational divide sometimes led to painful misunderstandings. Parents questioned activism, while their children marched for racial justice. Parents valued stability, while children demanded visibility. Bridging the gap requires patience, honoring sacrifices while also embracing new ways of belonging. Mental health has become another intergenerational issue. In many immigrant households, therapy or open conversations about anxiety and depression have become taboo. But younger Korean Americans are breaking that silence, advocating for mental health awareness in schools and communities. This shift reflects a broader willingness to talk openly about struggles that the older generations had endured quietly. Belonging does not happen in isolation. It comes from building connections across differences. Grassroots organizations are leading the way. The National Korean American Service and Education Consortium, founded in 1994, has been a national voice on immigrant and social justice issues. In Los Angeles, the Koreatown Immigrant Workers Alliance has stood with Latino and Black workers in fights for fair wages and better working conditions. During the Black Lives Matter protests, some Korean-owned businesses donated food, water, and supplies to marchers, showing solidarity in action. College groups, like Korean American student associations, are also partnering more with other ethnic organizations, building friendships and coalitions that extend beyond cultural pride. These examples show that the future of Korean Americans depends not just on self-preservation, but on cooperation. By linking arms with others, Korean Americans can build real bridges, not just a cultural showcase. The story of Korean Americans has moved from survival to success. Their culture is thriving, the community is visible, but visibility is not the same as influence. The question now is simple: will Korean Americans claim their voice fully, in schools, in workplaces, in city halls, and in Congress? The answer depends on participation. It depends on showing up not only for Korean causes, but for shared causes: immigrant rights, racial justice, education, healthcare, and dignity for all communities. This is the work of the next generation, to take cultural pride and turn it into civic power, to move from isolation to solidarity, to transform silence into a collective voice that cannot be ignored. The Korean American journey is still being written. The next chapter will not only define how the community sees itself, but also how it is seen as a part of the American story.